Welcome back to Beyond Kalidasia, a show that takes you behind the scenes of the Kalidasia Universe. I'm Jason, the creator of Legends of Kalidasia, and now this game right here, Kalidasia Fleet Commander, which is available for sale on the game's website at kalidasia.com. And tonight I'm actually going to talk about the major change that Fleet Commander went through during the beta design process to kind of look at a case study of some of the problems you're going to encounter in the tabletop game design process. If this is the first time you've been watching this season, or the first episode you've watched of this season, I've been going through my entire tabletop game design process. And tonight, we're going to finish up the beta design phase. Now, the beta design phase is the bulk of the tabletop game design process, and you can learn more about this by watching the 2 previous episodes of this season. So, with that out of the way, let's get started with tonight's topic. Now, way back in episode 1 of this season, I talked about the 3 fundamental forces of tabletop game design. And one of them was that your game must be fun, and the kind of important thing there was that games just aren't magically fun. It takes a while, it actually takes a lot of work for a game to be fun, and for the initial version of Fleet Commander, which is not the one that's currently for sale, it actually wasn't that fun to play, but I didn't really realize it until midway through the beta design phase. I want to talk about that more, how I came to that conclusion, and how I fixed the problem. Originally, Fleet Commander was a game of planetary system invasion, not a game of planetary siege. Players would fight over multiple planets and their associated moons. Now, a lot of the core mechanics from that version got carried over into the final version of Fleet Commander, but this multi-planet layout did not. Because initially, during the alpha design process, it was a lot of fun to play this game, but by the time I got through the midway through the beta design process, it really wasn't fun anymore. I was facing several serious problems with this type of game. Most importantly was trying to balance the scoring system. The scoring was based purely on the number of planets the invader captured, but the problem was, given enough turns, the invader was going to capture a planet. There was no way for the defender to drive the invader back, or even a way for the defender to slow the invasion process down. Each turn was just a slow grind of combat after combat. I tried to come up with weird rules where the invader had to attack multiple planets and kind of spread out the turns that way, but all that really did was slow the game down. During this phase, after 2 hours of playtesting, the game would only be halfway done. I mean, no matter what I did in terms of trying to balance the score, all I was really doing was forcing players to do more things and not giving them more options to actually do. Having multiple planets out really didn't make a lot of sense because the invader really wanted to focus on one planet at a time. If I tried to force them to fight at one planet this turn and another planet next turn, all I was doing was forcing them to do something they didn't want to do in pretending like it was an option or a tactic, and it simply was not the case. So all these things I was trying to do to solve the problems were just taking away options from the players and not actually improving the game in any way. With this early version of Fleet Commander, it was really all about combat. It was combat after combat after combat. And the problem was combat was just slowing the game down. One night I sat down with a stopwatch and I ran through all sorts of different combats, trying out different options, different sizes, and see what would happen. And what I discovered is pretty much the combats, regardless of what I did, were all the same length. They were about 5-6 minutes in length, depending on what rules or even what size of the combat was involved. So unless I wanted to really strip out all the tactics out of combat, the only way to really reduce the length of the game was to reduce the importance on the number of combats. In the end, the real problem was that Fleet Commander wasn't one game. It was about a half a dozen little games. So instead of being about tactical options, it was about forced actions, and that wasn't fun to do. So I dropped that whole multi-planet layout and went to the larger board single planet layout and added things like the convoy system the Aragul defenders have. I also got rid of the scoring system because it wasn't about capturing planets anymore. It was about sieging a single planet, and it created a much more granular system that was easier to balance. And in the end, because the game became more about choosing tactical options instead of forced actions, it became a lot more fun to play. Well, there you go. That's a story behind Kalidasia Fleet Commander's big beta design switch that I've talked about a few times on this show. If you want to learn more about the Kalidasia Universe or purchase a copy of the new fun version of Kalidasia Fleet Commander, you can do so over at the game's website at kalidasia.com. If you have any questions for me, you can send me an email at kalidasiagames@gmail.com, and perhaps I will be able to answer them on a future episode of this show. So with that, once again, thanks for watching. I'm Jason.